Hey, how's it going today? It is me, Captain Energy, and today we're taking a look at the SMPLTrek. So I decided to start covering one topic at a time on it, and today it's going to be recording samples. And this was requested by one of my subscribers who's having a tough time using his, so I thought that I would cover it in a little video here. Now, first things first, you need one of two things. You either need to be using the internal microphone, or you need to be using the inputs on the back right here. Okay, there are two inputs right here on the back. So if I can get those in the camera, there we go. We got a left and a right. And those inputs change depending on how you select them to work. The other thing you can do is you can also direct the input to come from one of the tracks or all of the tracks being played through the SMPLTrek mixer. So the way that works is if you hit function, right, and pencil, you can choose your input path. This one right here is the microphone. This one, when I have the little microphone on here, that means this microphone is working. Now, as you can see, the little red light is flickering. That means it's engaged. If you decide to use this little guy right there, what you need to realize is that in order to avoid feedback, if you're using the speaker to monitor, it disengages the speaker. So if you're on the road and you're just using it with no headphones and no microphone, external microphone, I'm not sure what happens with an external microphone. I believe with an external microphone you'll be okay. You can cause your own feedback unintentionally, but when you're recording through the microphone, it disables the speaker so there won't be any feedback. Now, the problem there is that when you go to listen to it, when you go to monitor this sound, nothing happens. You'll see a sound on your screen, you'll see the wave, but it won't play anything. What you've got to do then is hit again function and pencil again. Function pencil, which brings you the input, which is where we're at. I'll just exit so you can see it happening. Ready? Here we hit function, pencil. Here we are at the input. Now you want to turn this, I usually just go over 1. Just disengaging the microphone is enough to allow the speaker to rejoin as an option. So now you have audio coming through there. Anyway, all right, so let's go through the other inputs here. We have instrument. This is if you want to plug a guitar directly in. I believe it's line 1 in the back. Yeah. You'll see a little guitar right here. See if you can see that clearer right there, that little guitar. That is the instrument jack. That is where you'd plug a guitar in, and it would be able to amplify that guitar properly so that when it played through, you could, add a little distortion or whatever. Next, we have a microphone in, which allows you to have a microphone in the back, and you can record with an external microphone. Of course, it's non-XLR, unless you have a battery pack that gives you the phantom power and then converts it down to a 1/4-inch jack. Next, we have left and right line in, which is, that's your typical hooked up to a mixer or sound card type input. And then we have, this is a line in mono with the record source. Yeah. So you have one mono instead of 2 stereo. That first one was stereo. This one's just mono. And then we have using this as a USB device. That's if you want to record directly from your computer. You can just play right through to this as a sound device and it will record. And the last one here is this guy right here. This is the one that allows you to choose to use one of your tracks in your SMPLTrek to be the source. Okay. To do that, you would use C is the track. So now I can pick any of the tracks that I have and I can move them to another track. So if I were recording on track my mix, for example, and record it to one of the audio tracks, I could just go like this, turn it all the way right. All the tracks then would play down to that track. Now what this would allow you to do is basically use more tracks because you only have 3 instruments. So I could take instrument 1, for example, and I could record that to a loop and then use that loop instead of using the actual instrument playback, and thereby allowing me to have another instrument loaded after. Now you would lose the original instrument settings, you'd lose the original loaded instrument, but who cares? You know what I mean? Once you've got what you need, you don't need it anymore, You can just bounce it and go. Anyway, so let's go out here, and we're gonna record something with the microphone, okay? So let's go home. Actually, well, I'll go all the way left and change to the microphone is what I meant to say. So now you can see again, my microphone is active, and I'm just going to hit my home button, okay? And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit function sample. This is going to bring up this little weird window, and you're thinking to yourself, what's this little window for? Well, this little window kind of separates recording from the sampler and from everything else. It just records audio. So for example, if I go right here and now we hit function and record, you'll notice that there's this start and the auto off switch here. I'm going to leave the auto off on. I'm going to leave that alone. So if we hit the start button right here, we'll notice that the audio is starting to record. Hit it again, that will stop the recording. If I want to hear it, I can hit play. We'll notice that the audio is starting to record. Okay. Now, if I don't need that audio, which in this case I don't, you can just hit clear and it will basically just get rid of it. I'll say sample file will be deleted. Are you sure? And I say, go just choose yes. Boom. It's gone. And now I can record something more important. So I might go, let's see, we'll hit this. We'll just go, yeah. Yeah. All right, there's my sample. Okay, so I'm saying yeah. What I need to do next is hit save. I'm going to hit save, and I'm going to save it to my pool. Okay, I can save it to this project if I want. I could save it to this project, but I'm going to save it to the pool just so it's out there. And I'm just going to give this a name. I'm going to call it yeah. And I'm going to hit OK, which is the second button right here. Boom. And now yeah is saved. So I'm going to go to track 1 and press little pencil. Boom. It says, what do you want to do? I say, I want to load an instrument. And now I go back to the, see how this little cursor changes? It's on 3, 2, 1. Can you see that on the screen? Let's see. What you want to do is you want to go to the left one. So you don't see it on one of the tracks. It's actually on the instrument block right there on the left. Now press the pencil button and you'll see that you're in the instrument. Okay. Press it again. And we can set the length of the clip, which in this case, it starts off at 16. 16 is fine. This is just the way I do it. I'll hit clear again. And now go back to instrument, press OK. So we went to the left. Let me go back to home so you can see this for sure. Go instrument. We're on the instrument. I press OK. It says select sample. So I say, OK, I want to go to the pool because I just made a sample called yeah. There it is. Select it, press enter, and now I can adjust the start and end of the sample right here. Okay.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah, and that's it. Now I can leave it that way if I want, or I can actually go ahead and modify this sample if I want to, so that the sample itself is changed and stored that way on the hard drive or on the SD card. Let's go over here. I'll hit function and pool. Okay, that's going to take me to this folder selection here. From here, I can go, I want to work on a sample, and I'll say I want to go to the pool. And again, we're going down to yeah, right? Now, once I'm here, I press enter, or OK rather, sorry, and I can choose load, or I can hit chop, trimming, time stretch, normalize, or change to mono. Right now it's recorded in stereo, which technically isn't stereo anyway, so I could save the amount of space it takes by converting it to mono. Let's do that first, and we'll go from there. And it doesn't really matter which one. We'll just go with left because technically I'm just sitting here doing my thing. It doesn't need a stereo sample. I'm recording into this microphone right here. All right, and I'll go to the bottom here, and there is my sample. Now I'm going to hit trimming. Okay, I don't want to chop it because chopping it is what you would do to bring it. It would break it up into pads, and that's kind of neat if you're trying to do something with a chopped loop or whatever. But it does waste a lot of tracks, in my opinion, the way it works. I think that I'm going to be contacting Sonicware and requesting that they maybe give us a second, third, or maybe even fourth drum track as an option, because that would be a better way to slice your samples. If they give you a drum track that had up to 10 pads or whatever, or as many pads as there are, and it sliced your sample up across drum pads, you wouldn't have as much control over the sample, but you would be able to trig more samples. I think that would be more useful in some ways. Or maybe as an option. Maybe it's a secondary option. Maybe they keep it what they've got and they give you a little more, you know? Anyway, all right, so we select our sample. I say I want to trim it. Trimming. Boom. Now I go in here and it gives me these bars, and I can move these, my start and end bars, a couple ways. Down here, you'll notice that there's a bars chop. It tries to keep it to 1 bar based on the BPM you have set. What I usually do is I go down here and see you can change your BPM, your bars and all that right here. But if you go up here, you'll notice that it stops on BPM bars. If I click down on this little data selector right here, I can change this to either notes. I can do bars, notes, or I can go A/B point. A/B point is my favorite for actually like chopping a sample, because you can actually get in here and get the points where you want them. Once you're done, you just hit execute right here. Boom. And now when we go to the bottom, you'll see that now there's a one trim. Okay. So now I'm going to load that guy right there. Okay. And now hit this track 1, press the pencil so I can go and edit some music with it. Yeah. 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 And that's it. That is how you record with this with the microphone. Now, if I wanted to record from a sampler or from some other device, I shouldn't say from a sampler, from another device, I've got this circuit tracks right here for this purpose. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go over here and go to the top. That will go home first, sorry. And we're going to go to track 2. Now, I need to connect this here for this to work. All right, so we are all connected nice and neatly. Well, sort of neatly. I'm trying to set this area up as like a little bit of a lab for you right here, this desk spot, so I can demo stuff a little more efficiently. Anyway, now let's see what we got here. Do we have... We don't. Okay, no worries. What we need to do is we need to go right here and turn on the external source. Hit function, and right here, just external source. This is one of those little goof ups that you'll probably make 100 times. I made it 100 times. Forgot to change the input, so let's go. I'm just thinking, what's wrong? Why is this not working? Because you got to go here, press function right there. Okay, hit the pencil again to go to the input. And now we're going to change this to the input is coming from the record, so the stereo in. If you click this button right here, you won't hear it, but you'll see it. Click down on the value again. All right, so now we've got sound. All right, let's go back over to home button again. And now we've got instrument 1 already set up, because that's my hey.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was going to do hey. All right, home. Let's go on to the next one right here. Press enter. And we're going to do another instrument. Okay. Now, this instrument, we don't have the recording done for yet, so we're going to do that now. Shift sample to do recording. And we're just going to record 1 hit off this. And usually I try and go for C, because it just makes the most sense. So I'm just going to be sure this device is set on C real quick. It is set on C, and let's go for regular chromatic scale. And we're going to go a little higher, so we get a little more variation here on this side. All right, now I'm going to hit start, and we're just going to go. One thing I like about this device in particular is the recording multiple samples real quick and trimming. Since you can do that, it gives you a minute to kind of decide what you want to keep here. I'm going to hit save. I'm going to save this to the pool again. So I'm going to leave this with the default sample name this time. I'm going to hit OK. Okay, it's S0001. All right, now we're going to go right here, and we're going to hit function, this little pool button right here. And as we know, this is going to be a sample. So we're going to go to the pool, and we're looking for S001. There she is. Press enter. And what we're going to do first is I'm going to trim this. to get what we actually want out of it. Okay, so we hit trimming, and now, as I said before, same thing. We go down here and we change this to an A and B point. This is just the way I do instruments. And now I take my A and B. A can't go past B, so you kind of gotta go a little further ahead with the B to get the A where you want it to go. All right, so now, okay, I guess this is as zoomed as we can get. And now I'm just gonna hit execute. Boom. And it gives me the file right down here. It'll be S001 trim. All right. Now I'm going to hit that. And this time I'm going to hit normalize because I want to bring the volume up a little bit here. And I'm going to do -3 just to be sure we're not clipping it. And that was pretty fast, right? And there we go. Here we go. S001 trim norm. Now I'm going to hit this and we're just going to go further down here. Because there's a whole bunch of, see, we got these, like, you can delete, you can copy to a project, you can reverse. So I could actually reverse that sound if I wanted to. I'm just going to hit rename because I want to change the name now to something that makes sense to me. So I'm going to call this, we'll call it a CT synth, okay, because it's from the circuit tracks. And hit OK. And now there's CT synth right at the top because it's alphabetically the first thing. If you want to preview that, we can go left on the D-pad. By the way, this is a little trick that is good to know. If you want to preview a sound, if you go left, you'll see that it changes to a little play head right there, or a little play icon. Just press OK, and you can hear the sound. You can do this on other sounds as well. Before you get it in there, you know? Anyway, so now to load that, you go back to the right one. So you're now selecting the actual file name. Okay, I'm going to hit load. One more time, that actually loads it in. And now if I go in here with this pencil, all right, so once that's loaded, one thing I like to do here is I go back out for 1 second. So we'd go back here on the synth piece we created, go left once, so you're on the instrument itself again, like I showed you earlier. Press enter, and now you see sample, select, position, envelope settings. This is what we want. You may, depending how your sample is recorded, need to change the sample note. Now that would be if you recorded, like, say, an E, or you had a sample that was an F sharp, you would tweak it so that this was the correct note, and that would allow you to, when you play it chromatically, they'd be in the right, your notes would be in the right place. Otherwise, you're going to have to know a lot of scales to kind of manipulate, jump your way around using different improperly tuned notes that map themselves to the wrong note on the keyboard. It would be a real pain. So just know your note and be sure you change that if it's incorrect. One way to, by the way, keep track of that is to put that in the file name. So in this case, I could have put, like, you know, CT synth C. So I'd know that it was a C note. Anyway, once you're there, let's go down to envelope settings here real fast, and I'm just going to tweak my release. I'll put it up to about 45, 50. And the reason I do this, see the difference between that and this? Let me see here. It just dies when I take my finger off. Whereas if I just give it a little bit of breathing, a little bit of breath, 50 this time. There it is. And that's the whole thing of how you record samples with the SMPLTrek. Anyway, so yeah, I hope that was helpful. Hit me up in the comments if you have any questions. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. And have a great day. Talk to you next time. Bye for now.